Are live. So welcome to Tamarah's Closet today. I have another fabulous artist from South Africa, and I'm really excited. She's a very beautiful and talented artist, and she has a really fascinating story. As she didn't start out as an artist, she started out as an architect, which I just find fascinating. And she actually grew up in, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Bloemfontein, South Africa. And I'll have her tell me how to say that in a little bit. And she spent 10 years learning to be an architect and then decided to go a different direction. I'll have her talk about that towards her passion for art and painting. She now lives with her family in Cape Town, South Africa, and she's here with me today live. So without further delay, I want to bring out Yvette Beneke. And Yvette, I don't even know if I pronounced your last name right. I meant to ask you about that before we went live. So are you still with me?
Yes, I'm with you, and hello.
Good. Pronounce your last name for me.
It's Beneke.
Beneke.
Yes.
Beneke.
Yes.
So I was close. Okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to go right into the questions, Yvette. And you had mentioned when I was looking at your bio that you'd love to paint since you were a child. And I was curious as to what got you interested in painting when you were so young? How did you discover you had that interest? And
Yes, when I was small, I sort of I used to live in my head, and the only way to express myself, because I was very shy and I was always all by myself and alone, was to draw and express myself that way. And I just always went into a different world when I started to draw or paint or do any creative things. So that was just my way of, I wouldn't say escaping, but that was just who I was when I was a child. Yes.
Right. Did you find yourself doing that more than than playing with dolls and things like that, or was that more of your passion than anything else? Or
Yes, I didn't have any dolls.
Oh.
I didn't play with dolls. I had a dog, and we would go on our adventures, and then I would come home and I would draw, or I would sketch, or I would build something. That was another thing that I used to do. Build little miniature towns and stuff. So it was either architecture or drawing, one of the two.
So you built little towns out of what? What did you say?
Yes, I used to. The cowboy worlds that I saw on TV used to fascinate me. So I used to build little cowboy towns with matchsticks and dirt roads and little saloons and stuff like that. Yes, I love doing that.
So that makes sense that's making a lot of sense about the architecture side of your passion. So that is really amazing to me. That is. So when you were a kid though, did you have any formal art lessons as a child once you realized you liked it?
Yes, it started really in preschool already when my mum enrolled me into art preschool, where we used to do art and not the basic normal preschool stuff. And then from there, just primary school, and then I took art as a main subject in high school up until matric. And then I started to study architecture, and in architecture, art is also part of your curriculum for the 5 years that you study. So that was, to me, just a great advantage of the whole architectural course. And I also took some extra art lessons at the Technikon, just to support the painting part of that. So yes, art has always been a part of me wherever I was.
Well, let me ask you this, because when you was anybody in your family, like your parents or your grandparents, were there other artists that you had any kind of artistic abilities that influenced you, or were you the first?
Yes, my mom is arty, but it was never developed or anything. She used I had for years. I had an imaginary friend, and my mom would, she used to um, uh, draw the adventures of me and my little friend, because he was a tiny little boy that went with me everywhere. And she used to write a little book about that and draw the sketches. So I think if she had the opportunity or the chance, there would have been something. But other than that, I was the first real, yes. The rest of my family is very academic, engineers. My brother's into environmental science, so I'm really the arty one. My sister also, but also she never, you know, when you do art, you have to be encouraged and to want to do it very desperately to make a living and an income from that. And I think in our family, I was the first one who actually pursued it as a career.
Right. What was when you started really young, what was the did you have a particular subject that you liked to draw a lot with, or?
Sorry, I lost you there.
Oh, okay. When you first started as a child, what was your favorite subject that you started out painting or drawing? Did you have a particular subject, or?
Yes, but you're going to laugh now. I used to like to draw the superheroes. I loved them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love to do the cartoony kind of things more than anything else. So that was what I used to do as a kid. And then later on, I started to experiment with the oils and the acrylics, and I went more into portraits and stuff. That was also something that fascinated me. So my subject matter that I'm painting now is something new. It's something in the last 2 years that I started to be interested in.
Oh, okay. So that's recent. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you were, did you take art though in like in grade school, in early?
Yes, I did. Yes.
And then you took it along with the architecture when you were going to be the architect.
Yes,
So,
I did.
And your family, they were pretty supportive then?
Yes, my dad is one of those people that if you want to go to the moon, he will support you to go to the moon. And so when I said to him, I want to be an artist because that was what I wanted to be when I finished school, he said it's okay, but he would like me to consider maybe architecture, because I was always into the scale models that I was building, just to have a more stable background to fall back onto than, because I think most people think artists go hungry and they can't buy food and they are struggling. So he just steered me into a way that I can easier support myself if I had to. But he also supported the art.
Okay, you're frozen up a little. You may have to, Yvette, jump back, get off the link and jump back on it, because I've lost you. So let me see if I can get Yvette back on, because I've lost her here for a minute. Let's see if we can hang on just a second. I'm gonna send her a little message. See if I can get her on Facebook. I think what's happened is her internet has gotten hung up. So I'll just ask the viewers to be patient until see. It looks like she got my message, so she's jumping. She's going to get back on, and she'll be right back with us. But Yvette is she's really well known for her thick impasto paintings, and you know, I've got a couple of those here with me, and then I've got some of her older works as well, which I think is fabulous. Also, her work in her portraiture work, I think, is outstanding, and I have asked her if she thinks she'll be doing more of that, and she says that she will, and I'm glad to hear that because I think it's just stunning. She's very versatile, and all her work is really great. So I'm glad to hear that she's going to continue to explore all the different subjects that she's been doing. So let's see if she's. I'm sure she's just working on getting back on. So if you can hang with us, hopefully I won't have to sing a song. Here, I see her coming back now. There you are. Let's see. You're there. You are.
Yes.
Yeah. Good. Good. I got you back. So let's see. I can't remember at what point I lost you.
I was talking about the support of my family. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Start back with that. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, my dad is a great supporter of anything I want to do. So art, architecture, whatever, he would support me. My sisters, my brother, my mother, my husband, and especially my two kids. They just love that mom paints morning, noon, and night, so I don't bother them much. Yes.
Well, that's good. That you're blessed to have them support you. And I do understand your dad wanting you to do the architecture is something to fall back on. But I bet is he still alive today?
Yes, yes.
So I'm sure he can see how passionate you are about your art, today, and that you've made a good choice. What does he think about you? What did he think when you did leave the architecture?
I think he was a little bit. He supported me when I said I want to do it, but I think he just couldn't understand that I could study for so long, and I had an established practice for about 12 years. And I think it was just strange for him that I could just give that up and to now say I'm going to paint. But the support was there all the time. Never judgment or never say, oh, you can't do that. It was, everybody supported me. I've got really a great support system.
Good. That's good. Well, what would you say is the most inspiring piece of artwork, I guess, from another artist that you typically refer back to inspiration? Is there one piece of artwork from art history or even somebody current that has totally inspired you, or a piece of artwork, I guess?
I can't say that there's a single piece of artwork. I do refer a lot to South Africa's own masters, if I can put it that way, that works with the palette knives. A particular artwork there isn't really, but I do, when I think of, we've got an artist, his name is Chris Bronkhorst. He paints with a palette knife. Michael Parsons, he also paints with a palette knife. So it's always those people that does impasto work or palette knife work that I would refer to for inspiration, and I just admire their work. So yeah, I don't have a particular one single artwork, no.
Right. Well, what got you into using the palette knife? how did you move into that?
If you paint with a brush, it's a lot fine, or not really fine work, because I do a lot of fine work because I work only with a palette knife, but it's a different way of working, and I found I was too impatient. So what I would do with a brush is I would mess everything up because I would make it muddy and try to work too fast, and I didn't have the patience to wait for everything to dry first before I would add the other layers. So I started to read up and do some research, and I found that the palette knife gives me a lot of freedom, and also it doesn't restrict me. I can finish a piece quicker than I can do with a brush. It's just for me, it's much easier. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. No, but I love it. I love the look of it. I really do. I love the your flower work with the impasto, with painting the technique of the palette knife, because it's beautiful. And I love, this is probably one of my favorites up here with this, with this the purple flowers, whatever. I really like that. I'll put that up here in blue one. But this might be a good time to show some of your artwork.
Yes, and basically it is strange because I've got two techniques going on in this at the same time. Sometimes I use a very heavy technique, which is very heavy impasto paint, and it's that purple one that you see behind you. And I've also got a little one here, if you can see that. It's very, it's thick and it's very loose, and it's a heavy paint. And then I do my other work is much more refined. It takes much longer, and it's also palette knife, but it's a different technique. As you can see, the one at the back is completely different to the other ones.
Yeah. Now, if you need to unplug your earplugs to show any art, you can do that, if it makes it easier. Because I know you're attached to the computer now.
Yes, I am. I'm going to unplug them. Wait. Can you still hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Okay, now I'm tangled up here. Okay.
Okay.
So, do you want me to get one of these for you?
Yeah, yes, I'd love to see them.
Maybe I'll show you my portrait first, because I know you want portraits and you love portraits. Okay, this is a portrait I did a while back. I don't know if you can see that.
Yes, perfect.
And it's also a palette knife. And with this one, I used a very big palette knife for the whole face. I didn't use any little ones. And then my favorite painting is here at the back. And you can see it's a different technique than the heavy impasto.
Now, what technique was that you used for that one?
Also palette knife, but what I do is my layers are very thin, and I would wait a few hours in between the two layers before I add another layer. So it's where my heavy impasto is basically wet in wet technique. So everything I finish immediately. Where this one, I wait for layers to dry slightly before I add the following one and the next one until it's finished. So it's a longer process, and that is, the two are just completely different. I can show you two similar size ones next to each other, then you can see. Because this is a little one with a technique that is thin, where the paint is applied in a thin layer. And then
that is beautiful. I love that one.
Okay, so this is the more classical technique that I use, the thin one.
Okay.
And then this is the very thick one.
Yeah. I like both. I can't decide which I like better, but I like both techniques.
Yes, so it depends on how I feel and what time I've got to do it. At the moment, I think I'm leaning more towards the classical one, because I'm just very interested in the art at the moment of the classical art. So I'm trying to focus on that a little bit at the moment. Yes.
Right, right. Well, I've noticed that you had the, when I went to your website and was looking at some of the different artwork to post on social media, I noticed that some was thicker definitely than the other. And so I was wondering if you were moving toward the less thick, or you just enjoy doing both. And it sounds like you are moving toward a little bit more of the other, the more traditional or classical, I guess.
Yes. I will never not do the thick impasto. Those I do. I've got different moods. Sorry, but that is how I paint. When I'm in a when I'm in a calm mood and I can sit down for a few days to finish a painting, I will do the more classical ones. If I feel a little bit rushed and I need
I think we might have lost you again, Yvette. So you may have to pop off again. Sometimes you can actually just reload and it'll unfreeze you. But while she's jumping back on, so what she was saying was that there was a couple of different paintings that she showed when she showed those two white flowers. One was using a thicker impasto style, which is like this one up here, where you can really see how thick the paint is and the use of the knife. And then in some of her others, like more like this one, it was this white one down here. She's doing more of the classical style, which is a smaller knife, it sounds like. Oh, I got you back. Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay, that's all right. I kept talking for you. So, you're doing good. We're just having challenges today with the internet. That's okay. But yeah, so I was just showing these two here, and then this one here while you were gone, because this looks like the more classical style. Right, yes. And this is your thicker, the thicker style. So we managed to go on without you for just a minute. So, but that big painting you had in the big white frame, it sounded like that was your favorite, because that was one of my questions of what your favorite piece of artwork was. Would you say that was the one that?
Yes, that is definitely the one. It's also it's in my personal collection, and I just think personally for me it's the best work that I've done so far, and it was also the beginning of I don't want to say the new direction, but the more classical direction that I would like to go into.
Right. Now, what would you say for you is the most exciting thing about being an artist?
I think it's just for me as a person to sit with a blank canvas in front of you, and then after a few hours or many hours, there's suddenly something there that wasn't there before, and I actually created that, and that to me gives me immense satisfaction, in the sense of I've created something that can be there forever and ever. So that to me is the part that I really love about creating and art. It was the same with architecture. Now, that whole process of creating something out of nothing, that to me is what art is about.
Right. Well, how did you make that transition from just walking away from the architecture to the artist or to just painting?
If you work in the building industry, it's not that difficult because the building industry is very difficult, and for a woman as well, being on site just day in and day out, it just became too much. After 12 years, I said, I can't do this anymore. You have to fight for everything, and you have to work in a really harsh environment, in the sense of it's different. It's just different. So when I decided I didn't want to do that again, I'm not somebody who can't do something. So I decided, well, now I have to do something. And my big love was always art. So I just decided I'm going to be an artist. And that's what I did.
Well, do you ever see influences of your days as an architect in your work now, and any of the work? You know, maybe not in the flowers, but is there ever that feeling?
Not really. I do like to sometimes do interior paintings, which was also a big love of me when I did architecture, was the interiors of the houses. I would say the biggest influence that my architecture has on my art is actually the business side of it. Because I ran a business for 12 years all by myself. And when I started out as an artist, I decided to run my art business the same way. So I didn't go out and just paint and that was it. I decided it's a business because I have to make money from this. And that is the biggest thing that I took from architecture into my art was actually the business side of it.
Right. Well, that was actually the smart thing to do. That was the smart thing to look at it, how to make that transition. And but did you go to immediately into? It sounds like you didn't go immediately into the using the palette knife. It sounds like you started with the brush, and then you worked through those frustrations.
Yes. In 2011, I started. I went to some classes, and they were mainly using brushes. So I used the brush, and I got taught all the color mixtures and how the techniques work, etc. But then I decided that I want to do the palette knife, and they were not really into the palette knife where I was there. So in 2012, I locked myself up in my house literally for months. And I would watch YouTube videos, and I would phone other artists who were using palette knives just to get some more information. And that is how I got onto the palette knife. And I just found once I did the first painting with that, I knew that's what I wanted to do. And then I never took a brush into my hand again. So that was just for me the best thing ever. And then in 2013, I started to paint professionally. Yes.
Okay, and you've stuck with it ever since. So that's good. Yeah, that's great. Well, I wanted to ask you if you could name 3 artists who have most inspired you, I guess, over the years. Who would that be?
Obviously, all the old masters all over the world are just amazing. If you look at their paintings, it is, to me, it is just all of them. I don't have, I mean, César and Monet, all those artists are wonderful, but I tend to look at people that are alive today, and the 2 I've mentioned before is 2 of our artists, is the Koos Bronkhorst and Michael Parsons, palette knife artists, and their work is really incredible. And then there's an artist, his name is Julian Merrow-Smith. He's a British artist. He lives in Provence, and his still lives are just amazing. What he does is he will go to the market and buy some lemons or flowers, take it home, put it in a pot or bowl, whatever, and then he will paint that. So his paintings are all stories of his everyday life experiences. And that is where I tend to want to go to, because that fascinates me. I said to somebody the other day, he can take a lemon, put it down, paint it, and you can't take your eyes off that painting, and it's just a lemon. But the way he did it, and it is so intriguing that he can do that with just this simple lemon. So that is where I'm moving towards. So his work to me is really inspiring.
Oh, that's great. So you're wanting to get more of your everyday life in as well, like just things that you go through everyday life, like what he's doing.
Yes, we've got a local deli here that sells all farm products and organic stuff. When I walk in there, I look at the chilies and I look at the figs and I think, can I paint this? Can I paint that? I don't think I want to buy them because I want to eat them. I think I want to paint them, and I find it's the little things, like fruit, vegetables, small things that is the subjects at the moment that I would like to paint. Obviously the flowers, I love flowers, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I love your flower work, but some of your older work is just stunning as well. I went in and looked, I have the one piece right here where, let me get the camera back on me because it's not doing it on its own. But this was some of your older work that I found on the website, and there was several on there actually that were really good. And do you see yourself ever doing more of that as well? Or you?
Oh yes, definitely. No, my cattle range is something that I definitely. I've actually started one. It's just, I think in the last few months, I've gone through a bit of an experiment phase where I wanted to figure out how exactly I want to paint the flowers and the still lifes, which technique works for me. But my cattle will always be there, and they are quite big pieces, so it takes a while for me to finish them. But yes, definitely, and portraits as well. But the portraits are more a personal thing. Yes, I paint flowers. Some people paint portraits, and that is what they do, and some people paint landscapes, and that's what they do. So I tend to 90% of my work will be flowers or still lifes, and the portraits will come out every now and again.
Yeah, well, all your work, you're very versatile. You really are, Yvette, and all your work is beautiful. I really have enjoyed all of it. Everything that I have seen on your website and on social media, I've thoroughly enjoyed. So I'm glad that you still want to explore different areas, because I think you're very versatile, and I think that works in your favor. I mean, because you're going to have a lot of different a wider range of viewers, I think, and customers as well. So what would you say are some of your most memorable responses that you've gotten from people when they see your work?
I think what's always very nice for me is when people buy a piece and I send it off to them, and they've only seen it on the internet. And then when the piece arrives there and they actually see it, then they are so happy, because it's just so much more than they've expected. So in real life, the people, when they see my work in real life, they just go, oh, wow, I didn't expect it to be that nice. So, and that is, and also I know the flowers makes people happy. Even only people that see it on Facebook, and maybe they're never able to buy one financially, but they just love looking at it. And the messages that I get is like, you make my day happy by posting your flowers or your paintings every day. So for me, my art is about making people happy. And that is what I try to do, because if somebody can own one piece of my artwork and that makes them happy when they look at it, then I've achieved something.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. You have, and I enjoy looking at it, and I've enjoyed reading the responses. And I saw one response where someone, I think you had made a comment that a lot of people really liked your impasto work, and you were glad to hear that. So I saw that recently on, I think it was Facebook, but so I think you're right. I think the fact that even if people can't buy your work, they can see it on and get pleasure out of it, just seeing it when you post it on social media. So I think that's good. I think the biggest struggle there, like when you said people are amazed at when they see your work in person, it's even more beautiful. I think a lot of that too is they can really see the textures better, and also the color. You know, when we post things on the internet, the color is just so different. If someone hasn't had their computer calibrated, you know, it's the same thing with photographers when they post their work. The colors don't transfer the same as when you see it in person, you know. So I mean, your art is just amazingly beautiful. I really, really do love it. So it sounds like your mentor, I was going to ask you if you have a mentor today that you, it sounds like there's the master painter in your area that you told me about yesterday, and I'm not going to pronounce his name, but you mentioned him just a little while ago, a couple times. Is it Koos or?
Koos Bronkhorst.
Yes.
Yes.
It sounds like he's sort of a mentor to you. Or do you have a?
I've met him. I would love to do one of his workshops, but he's up in Johannesburg at the moment, and I'm down here. But just his technique and the way that he paints is I just love it. And then also the other, I don't have a mentor at the moment. No, I try to experiment a lot, and through mistakes, I find out what I can do and what I can't do.
Well, what do you have a big dream, say, for your art? Is there a big dream that you've got in mind or goal that you're working towards that you can share? Or
yes, I think, I don't know, maybe all artists dream about that, but I would love to have my own gallery one day with lots of my work. That would be a dream. Yes, that is something that I would love to have.
Yeah, and you're represented by several galleries around South Africa. Is there any that you want to mention, or?
Yes, I've got agents up in Johannesburg. They are under the name of Pharos Art, and they distribute my work in the Gauteng area. And then in Cape Town, I'm with Lindy van Niekerk Art Gallery and Rebecca Steele and Gallery 93 in Somerset West, Dorp Street Gallery in Stellenbosch. Where am I? Sure, I can't remember.
That's
yes,
okay.
Those are the main ones down here.
That's okay. You know, I'm going to put all this in the blog anyway. I know you've got them listed on your website. So anything that you know, that you've mentioned today, I'll, you know, make sure I have in the blog article. What do you think role an artist plays in society, and how do you feel your work as an artist plays a role in society?
I think the way I see it, there's so many people out there that appreciates art but can't paint themselves, and to give them some form of art that they can appreciate and look at and find joy is, to me, I think that is what art is about, and that is what I would like to see my art, to give art to people who are not artistically inclined and can't paint themselves. So I think that to me is one of the main things, so that they can also feel a little bit of how it is to enjoy art.
Yeah, that's great. I agree. I'm just glad that you are. I'm excited about the plans that you have to venture into other areas, and you know, it's good. It's good to know that you've got a plan, because your art truly is beautiful. And I did want to ask you what's integral to the work of an artist. What do you think?
I can't speak for anybody else, but for me, it's my emotions. I can't paint on a day that I'm feeling not good. So my paintings reflect me, and that is also when I paint a portrait. The reason why there's not a lot of portraits is because when I paint a portrait, it is how I feel. So that portrait is actually sort of, it shows the emotions that I went through in a certain period or on that day, and it is such strong emotions that I felt that I wanted to put it down on canvas. So that's why I don't do portraits every day or every month. It's really a personal thing that I do when I feel I need to put my emotions down on canvas. So I think for me, as an artist, your emotions and how you feel is such a big part of what you paint, that it's one. You can't paint if you don't feel good. You can't paint if you're sick. It doesn't want to come out.
Right. Well, I think that's true of any creative person when we're engaged in something creative. I notice if I'm doing something in my creative, whether it's hair, makeup, photography, whatever, if I'm not in feeling passionate about it because of a certain mood I'm in, it doesn't come across. My work, it's not the same. So I agree with you. I mean, I think that's important, that your mood has a lot to do with it. Where do you see yourself, or would you like to see yourself 5 years from now?
Definitely still painting, and and yes, every day I strive to better what I did yesterday. So in 5 years' time, I hope I can be as close to the best I can be. But I don't think in art you can ever be the best. You can just be better than you were the day before. I would love to own a gallery, and yeah, that is basically what I would. You know, I can't see myself ever stop painting. That is not even remotely close to what I can think. So I would just say in 5 years' time, I want to just be much better than I am today, and just hopefully have a gallery.
Well, that's great. That's a great goal. Do you have any upcoming exhibitions that you want to mention, or?
I don't really have a date yet, as we are still negotiating when and where exactly it's going to happen. But I do plan a solo exhibition up in Johannesburg round about July, end of July. But there's no dates finalized on that yet.
Right. Right. Do you enjoy doing the exhibitions? Is that a part of your career that you like, or is that not your favorite part?
I honestly can't say that's a favorite part. No, it's a lot of yeah. You're very exposed if you do an exhibition, because you are there and your paintings are there and you can't hide, and the clients are there. So it's very good and it's very nice, but it's also, to me, it's not the most favorite part of painting or art. No, definitely not. But it's a necessary part of it.
Right, right. Well, before we wrap it up, I wanted you to give what advice would you give to someone who is either an inspiring artist or they've been doing art for a while, but they just haven't had the courage to really step into really promoting themselves, or maybe they just haven't even stepped into showing other people their art. Whatever it is, what kind of advice would you give someone?
Well, what I can say is that, first of all, social media has made it so much easier for our artists to show our work to the world, without having to go into a gallery and ask them, please, can you exhibit my work? So first of all, if you're a new artist, use social media. I also, because that's one of my passions, and I actually give not online courses, but courses in how to promote your artwork online and with social media, because it's there. Use it as an upcoming artist. Use that. And then second of all, I would say paint every day. Doesn't matter what you paint, and it doesn't have to be the masterpiece, or it doesn't even have to be something that you want to sell. Just paint every single day, just to better yourself, to learn your technique. That to me is really important. I try to paint almost every day. If I don't paint, I think about what I'm going to paint.
Wow. Well, I think that's great. You know, I'm amazed that you can stay focused like that and do paint every day. I'm going to hang on here a second because before we wrap it up, I think we've lost you again, Yvette. So I'm going to hang on and give you a chance to jump back on so I can see if there's anything else you want to add, or and so we can say goodbye to you so we don't just kick you off the internet. You are certainly an inspiration, and I think you're right about social media. I stress all the time how, just in my posts that I make and when I blog, how important social media and the internet, it's just been a game changer and has enabled us to totally promote ourselves no matter what kind of business we're in. And if you've ever thought about having a business or sharing your craft or trade or whatever, your products, promoting your business, now is the time, because the internet has given us just an amazing and incredible opportunity that is just that we've never ever had before. And so I think anybody who's not taken advantage of that is really, really missing out. And so it's good that and I see you're back. It's good that, you know, that I guess that we have this ability today that we never had before. And having the internet to promote your art, like you said, is just, if people aren't doing it, they really are missing the boat, you know. So I tell you, I have to commend you, Yvette. You deserve a gold medal for hanging in here with me today, because I know you keep getting bumped off, and it's so nice to see your radiant smile when you come back. But you deserve a medal for that, because I know you said this is your first experience with an interview like this. So see, now you've overcome the worst part of it.
Yes.
So is there anything else that you would like to add today is there anything that you want to share or add that we didn't talk about?
No, the only thing I can say is that if there's anybody out there that is listening and is thinking they want to be an artist, but they don't think that they can do it, just do it. That slogan of Nike where they say just do it, that's the only thing. If you want to be an artist, just do it and go for it. you can't know if you're going to be a successful artist if you don't put 120% into it. So you may wonder for the rest of your life, could I, would I don't know. And there's a lot of people out there that thinks that way. And the message I would just like to give to anybody that is thinking that way is to just do it. That they what are they going to lose? But they can gain so much from it, because I did architecture for 12 years and I loved it. But what I'm doing now is just the best thing ever. So if you've got a craving inside of you to want to paint, go paint.
Well, that's great advice. And since we're on that subject too, because you were talking about before you got kicked off what a great opportunity the internet and social media has given not just artists, but anyone in a business. And so I continued on that, Yvette, with that conversation while you were getting back on. So I think one thing people fear is critics. And I know I'm learning photography now, but I post my photography on social media, even though I interview lots of photographers who are very successful and very experienced when I'm a very beginner. But I don't let that fear of posting my work, because I know that you've kind of got to ignore the critics. There are going to be people out there who are just nasty, but I think most people, especially when they know you're learning, most people are very kind, I think. How do you feel about that? Like, what would you tell? Because I think that's why some people are a little bit leery of posting their work, because they're afraid of the critics.
Yes, I agree. And I was in the beginning, and then I decided to see critics as a learning curve. So people are going there are going to be people that is going to say some negative stuff about what you did. I find 99% of people are supportive, build you up. But if there's somebody that comes into my life that is negative and gives me negative feedback or whatever, in the beginning I was devastated, and I would just say, okay, now I'm never going to paint ever again. But what you do have to do with that is put it in a little box and look at it and see if you can't learn something from that. So you get insensitive people, you get nasty people, but use them for something positive, and go and look at what they said. Maybe what they said is true. Maybe you can change something and it may be better than you did it before. But don't let it get into your soul and who you are, because that will make a lot of people just never paint or never take a photo or never cook a meal ever. So that is the way I deal with that now. Put it there in that little box, and then I look at it and I think, what can I take from that? So I try to make a positive from the negative.
Well, you're right, and I'm glad that you have the courage to overcome that in the beginning, because I think you're right. You just have to sort of look at what people say, like you said, and maybe there's something good in it, and maybe they're just being nasty, and you just let it go. But don't let it keep you from doing what it is you love. And it's just been such a thrill to have you here today, Yvette. And I'm so sorry that you've gotten kicked off the internet. But what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, right?
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's one of those things. It's okay. And thank you so much for interviewing me. It was great.
Oh, you are welcome. And I'm going to have a replay of this. And, I don't know. I haven't experienced, I may be able to edit out a couple places where you did get bumped up. That'll be a new challenge for me to learn how to do. So, but I want to thank you again. Is there anything else you wanted to add today?
No, I think I've pretty much said it all, but I can say thank you to everybody, you included, that has supported me over this. You know, I haven't been painting for that long. I've been painting since 2013. But the support I've had from everybody has just been so great. And they've carried me from zero to where I am today. And I couldn't have done that without all the supporters. And that goes for each and every single person on my page who just likes or comments, a client, galleries, everybody.
Yeah.
So thank you, and you.
Oh, you are welcome. And it's just been an honor to have you here today. And I will have the replay of this in my blog at tamarahscloset.com. You can find Yvette at Yvette, it's molenaar.com. And I'll have this link, and my link will be posted on the bottom of the YouTube video, and then the YouTube video will also be in my blog, and then of course you'll have the link to it, Yvette. So if you want to put a link to it in your blog, you can do that as well. You can also put the video in there if you know how to do that. If you don't, I can maybe walk you through it and tell you how to do it. But I'm sure you're very resourceful. I know you can figure out how to do that. But thank you so much. Don't hang up yet. I'm gonna say goodbye to the viewers. So I want to thank the viewers for being here today, and whether you're watching this live or the replay of it. Help me continue to celebrate Yvette. Her work is beautiful. So make sure you share the replay of this video on all your social media sites, and check out her blog at Yvette, M-O-L-E, and go to my blog, tamarahscloset.com, and you'll be able to see the replay there, as well as my YouTube channel. And I'll later have an article on her and promote her that way again in a few months around again. So I want to thank the viewers for their continued support. Join me next Friday, March 18th, as I'm interviewing an incredible guitarist from Bristol, Mike Dawes, who is just amazingly talented. And on March 25th, which I believe is Good Friday, I'll be interviewing actor David Cubitt. He was one of the stars from a prior TV series called Medium, and he's got a couple upcoming movies, so I'm really excited about that. And so thank you again. Please share the replay and help me continue to celebrate Yvette, and to your own success in whatever your ventures are. Keep on rocking it, and thanks again.